Coach, with fall camp just a couple of weeks away now, are there any areas specifically that you're just itching to really work on?
Well, we're going to work on all areas, but the one that's the biggest concern is wide receiver. I think that's where we have to make the most improvement. That's where we have to have a couple guys step up and take over for those great receivers we had last year, and we're going to start that day one.
Now, everybody's wondering about the receivers. What areas are you most comfortable with, where you don't have to worry quite as much about?
I think there's only two areas that we are concerned with on our team, as long as the injury bug doesn't hit us. I think we have a good offensive line returning. We have good tight ends. That's probably the deepest position on our team. We have a really good quarterback. We have a good tailback. So on offense, the receivers are the only question mark. On defense, we're a little young in the defensive line. We got a couple seniors there, but most of the guys that are going to have to play a lot are underclassmen. We got good depth at linebacker with good players. We got good depth in the secondary, and we got a good punter and a kicker. So we have two areas of concern, and that's a good way to go into the season.
With last year's success, how do you keep the players hungry? Is that a coach's thing, or is it the players just have to have that hunger?
No, I think that you try to coach them into realizing last year was last year. I mean, you explain it to them, you educate them on it, but it's really up to them to believe you. And I think that our players are happy with what happened last year, but I don't think they're complacent. I don't think they're satisfied. I think they're hungry. They've worked hard. Hopefully we'll have another good year.
With the kind of year that Ronnie Cumming had last year, what do you expect from him? Do you think it might be harder on him now that defenses are going to be more aware of him?
Well, I think every running back that has the ability Ronnie has the potential for a great year like he had last year. But there was one constant with a great running back, is that the big boys up front open up holes. So if our offensive line does the job and gives him some cracks and seams to run through, Ronnie will have another good year.
And then on the defensive side, Miles Burris being one of the standout linebackers, what type of year are you expecting from him?
Miles had a great year last year, and we expect the same thing from him. We expect a lot of those guys on defense to have real good years. Third year in the same system. They understand the system well. We've improved every year the last 2 years, and hopefully we're going to improve again this year.
The preseason poll came out today. You guys were picked fourth. What are your thoughts on where you guys were picked?
I don't really care. I mean, I think that obviously going into the season, there's certain teams that, based on what they did last year, are picked in a certain order. But preseason means nothing. It's not where you start, it's where you end. We won't make a big deal out of it. It's not a big deal. What's a big deal is where we finish in the conference standings at the end of the year.
And then just looking at the conference, the strength of the conference, do you feel it seems like there's some really strong teams up there at the top? Is that how you look at it?
Well, I think it was easy to pick the three teams at the top because they've had 3 seasons in a row where they've won 8 or more games. When a team presents itself and shows consistency and consistently winning, it's easy to put them up there because they're used to it. They do it every year, so it's easy to be smart and put them on top.
And then the 4 players who were chosen to the all-conference team, is that just a reflection on the program and the success you guys have had over the last couple of years to have those guys chosen?
I think those guys, I mean, it's great to be chosen preseason. I think they were chosen on the way they played last year. And it's really nice. It's like a end of the season awards deal at the beginning of the season. But there again, it doesn't matter. They have to play that well or better to be picked at the end of the year to those all-conference teams. So I'm sure it's nice and it's fun to talk about, but it doesn't matter to how we play against Cal Poly.